This is the blind leading the blind right
I don't like it.
It's a bad idea.
The blind leading the blind. I think you're going to be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to have.
blind person working together.
I'm going to start. I'm going to start the clock for 11 minutes. You'll each have an 11-minute discussion, and everyone that's done their discussion today has survived.
Hey.
They have, and they've all gotten better and better and better. So,
Only like 6 people in each class got sent to the
okay,
hospital.
so, gentlemen, are you ready? Okay. And outside circle, are you ready for your role?
Yes.
Okay, if you're an evidence tracker, hold your hand up. Okay, you two, each of you right now decide which part of our circle are you going to take. You want to take these 4 or 5, and Colin, you take these. Okay, make sure that you know which one so that you're not having to double up. Discussion tracker. Okay, so do you have everybody's name? Okay, that's probably the first thing, the easiest thing to do, and then you can just tally after that. And our connector tracker. Okay, so you might want to put everybody's name in there too. That might be a good way to do it. But we only have one, right? Okay, all right. Come in.
Is the camera recording?
Get the red light on.
No,
It just let you punch me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're free to have stuff.
So,
You took the words right out of my mouth, Alec.
So do I just read the first question and then give my own little? Oh yeah, we're back there.
It's your discussion.
All right, chapters 1 and 2. Why did the author use figurative language for the entire dialogue? My claim was to give the readers a creative and unique way of picturing the story.
I agree with that.
yeah, me too.
Because the author would try to sculpt something very complex using their words, but only for the people that can use higher order thinking to see it.
Yeah.
I agree, but I also said that like to give more detail and to show how passionate their love is for one another. Also,
Mine's basically along the lines of him, but I put to share the love they have while also not saying it the boring way.
Is the shul night dreaming, or did she go out into the street and find her lover? I said, yes, she did go find him because, in the text it says that the friends found him and, brought him back, so that couldn't have really been a dream.
I agree with that.
I was just confused the whole time about the dreaming thing.
I have that she's just dreaming because she's full of love, so it's not real.
Not really sure.
Two in the corner. Go.
Anyone?
John, Chase.
His turn. So far he went down. And what'd you get?
I didn't write anything down, but I think maybe she was dreaming because she didn't say anything out of the ordinary, and it doesn't seem like it'd be real.
Alright. Really?
I said she was beaten.
Yeah, didn't she end up having wounds and stuff?
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been.
If she was beaten, she would have wounds, and that would kind of be a problem throughout the rest of the
She
story.
could have been dreaming of that.
She could have said herself in her dream.
I think it was a dream. This is definitely a dream.
what is chapter 4? What is the significance of the figurative language, and why is it almost entirely someone who speaks? I said because during the time period, females didn't have as many rights, so the man was talking more just because of that fact.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I put because
I said the same.
it's declaring how much he likes her, and that he has more than just a few things to say to her.
chapter 5 is the Shulamite. Oh, did we just read? Oh, is the Shulamite dream, or is the author telling us she really went out into the streets and got beaten? Oh, I still, like I stated earlier, it sounds like she's dreaming.
I'm still confused about that part.
Same here.
I really disagree about that one.
Anything that mentions dreaming in this story is just like of heads or tails.
Pretty much the whole story is just
I mean, why would you dreaming about being beaten? I mean, unless it's like a fantasy or something. I just don't see that happening. And plus, like having wounds and all that is kind of iffy there.
Remember who
It could be a
she
nightmare.
is married to.
Yeah, I know, but
Why
I feel-
might she be dreaming of that if it is?
Because I don't feel like somebody would beat the wife of a king. Really.
yeah, I mean the guards would know like it's one of his wives, and they'd be like scared that like he's gonna behead him or something.
I put she was dreaming because she was asleep but her heart was awake, which means that her heart would make her dream up the events to go out and try to find him, but while also taking the worst that could have happened going out into real life and made it in a dream.
That's it. Chapter 6. What message did the author send through the Shulamite and Solomon not having the same concern about their situation? Anyone? Okay, moving on then. Garrett?
Mine's back, so I can't say anything.
Okay, what might it mean that Shulamite and Solomon only speak to each other using figurative language?
they might not want everyone to understand.
I said that they're still like in the honeymoon stage, so they're still like being all sweet to each other and all
That makes a
that.
lot of sense.
They haven't really gone into the whole back to normal life thing. So.
I had down that his emotions are true.
Okay, I feel like Chase is the only one speaking in this one.
I really just told them something else said, so
If you don't like it, you can speak too.
You guys need to speak up so you can hear you. I can't hear you.
I'm insecure about what I say. So.
no, that's true.
This is as high as I go.
What was that, Hannah?
Anyone else
The mic
have something to say
couldn't
about
hear
chapter
you.
7?
It's very descriptive. The using it's very descriptive.
Alright. John, say chapter 8.
You want to pick up on what John said about it being still in the honeymoon stage? Think of real life when you're in a relationship and it's still new. How can you relate what happens with you or humanity today to their situation back in 950 BC or
That's a
thereabouts?
long time ago.
Has humanity changed?
In some ways it has, in some ways it hasn't.
Not really on how you act, like first a little bit when you're together. Like you still act the same, like you first like together and everything, and like after get married, like for a while, but like changes later down really like slowly. you already know, like you're with them, and so.
I'm gonna sum up what he just said. The more you're around them, the more you're used to them, so the more casual it gets.
So acting fancy when you first meet them.
At first you don't see their flaws, and you just think they're perfect.
I was also saying that like you're not trying to impress them anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's when it's more casual.
Chapter 8. What is the significance of place me like a seal over your heart?
I said that's like when they say like a seal over your heart, I thought that meant like basically like seal our love, like I don't know, like
Keep a special place in your heart about us.
They want to be together forever.
I say that.
Anybody-
You can go.
Don't let anybody interfere.
I say that she wants to be the only one that he should love. Quote, place me like a seal on your heart. And with my quote, it means, only allow me to stay in your heart and let no one else have it.
And what do we know culturally what's happening?
He's got like 60 wives and 80 concubines.
Yeah. So why might she say that to her husband at that
Because he
point?
has a lot of other wives. She wants them to.
Not just wives, but just concubines. Yes.
she wants to be like the best in the favor.
Yeah. Sum it up.
Whole story was heads or tails.
What's that?
Whole story was heads or tails.
Okay. Step it further. Okay, so before you move, let's evaluate. How did the conversation go?
Great.
Horrible.
A little awkwardly.
Okay, there was a long silence around chapter 6. Why do you think that was?
Because no one knew what to say.
We
Did
didn't
you-
understand the question.
Okay, so you hadn't prepared well enough for the question? Okay. What else went, let's look at positives. What went really well?
We all talk.
Yeah, that's good. What else? At least a little, yeah. What else was positive?
That I'm normally the quiet one, I spoke the most.
Yeah, great. You were able to articulate yourself in that group.
You're also one
Wonderful.
of the loudest people. And if not the
What else is positive?
Are we allowed?
Yeah, go ahead. Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't have anything to say.
Me and Garrett barely lived through it.
How many, what about connection statements? Did we have a lot of them?
Yeah.
Or at least a few?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
enough.
A couple people didn't say my name.
Okay, so we need to encourage some to speak. All right, connection statements are really huge in propelling that conversation. When you connect with someone specifically and paraphrasing, and Chase did a nice job of summarizing or paraphrasing a couple times. What are some areas that we need to improve in, or that the outside row who's going to come inside can keep in mind?
No awkward silence.
Okay, so how do we prevent that?
keep talking.
Talk up so people can hear you so they know what they're speaking on.
Good, that's one thing. How about inviting participation? Especially those of you who are strong sharers, you express yourself often and well. You might say, we haven't heard from you, Sarah, for a while, or Hannah, for a while. Sorry. What is your opinion about this, right? Or summarizing in the middle. If there's some awkward silence, summarize what's been going on so everybody can kind of get their perspective back again and go, okay, this is where we are. We can go forward now. Yep. Okay, and speaking up. That's really important. All right, so switch roles. Those who are on the inside, pick up your third on the outside.
Go ahead.
No one where you want to sit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me. Yeah.
That's what I just said.
How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow?
What's a commentator?
Neat. New York.
I did all the seashells, the seashells.
Human Torch was denied an ankle.
What is being said inside on the commentator?
How much what check?
Here, you wanna help me?
How much
Seashells down by the seashore.
seaside?
Okay, who are our evidence trackers? Who's the evidence tracker?
Your computer's about to die.
Okay, we've got Lily. You are? John, were you an evidence tracker?
Yeah.
Okay, so decide which path you're going to track so you don't have to track everybody. So you pick, maybe Lily, you take Nolan to Tim, and John, you take Hannah to Haley, and track what evidence they provide. Okay, discussion tracker. Who's our discussion tracker? Okay, so we should probably get everybody's name down, and then you can start telling. Our connection tracker. Is that you? You're the connection tracker? Hannah?
Oh, no.
Oh, who's our connection tracker? Oh, here, I'm sorry. Okay, so you might want to get everybody's name written down as well, and then start putting what they say, how they use the connection tracker, or connection statement. Okay, are we ready?
How now, brown cow? Oh, ah!
All right.
So for chapters 1 and 2, why did the author use figurative language for the entire dialogue? I said it makes some more descriptive writing, plus a lot of people back then wrote in a style like that. Example, Gilgamesh, the book of Psalm in the Bible, and a couple of other books in the Bible, including Numbers. So
I agree with that. Well, were you done?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I also think it was to make you think a little bit more about what they were saying. Because if like Solomon just said to her, hey, you look pretty, you would just think, oh, just casual thing. But this makes it feel like a deeper thought was thrown into it. Like they really cared about what they were saying, how they were saying it.
I
It makes
agree
it,
with Nate a lot there.
I couldn't agree with
It helps the reader picture the story more.
yes.
On how they want to picture
Makes
it.
them think a little harder.
It's a very good point, Colin.
You can reach the full grasp of the scene because of how well they describe things.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone else have anything to say about?
No, I think you pretty much got it all.
All right.
Copy that.
Chapter 3, is this Shulamite dreaming, or did she really go out into the street and find her lover? Now me, I'm gonna have to say the whole dreaming and not dreaming kind of stumped me. I mean, I had to reread quite a few times and I still didn't understand it very well.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, I think right now, personally, she wasn't dreaming because it just had that, it could have happened. I mean, it could or couldn't have. I don't think if it was or wasn't a dream, it was going to affect the story.
You pretty much have to read between the lines.
Yeah.
In a way.
I had to read between the lines.
Yeah.
I like mostly agree with you, but like I kind of think she actually did, like,
Because she got beat
like
by
she
the
actually went out
guards.
and in this because like she
Well,
like
the
tells her
guards be the
friends
harmless
about
girl.
him like
What'd
that
she
he like
do?
left and then her friends go to the garden and like find him and then he's like, well, why are her friends here? So like I don't think that was a dream because he actually was found.
Okay.
I think it's just more figurative language that going out to the garden, like Mrs. Hartwig said earlier with the story, that it's just going to where the other wives or concubines would be. Because it doesn't say part of the text to view the lilies, and that could be viewing his other wives or spending time with them. So.
Of course. Is that good? Everyone say what they wanted to say? Sam, what did you think? Did you think she was dreaming, or do you think they really went out and found him?
I said that she actually went to the garden Or she didn't go to the garden. She actually went out to go and try to find him this time. That's basically all I had. I just had support after that with it.
Okay.
Chris or Colin have anything to add?
I think she went out to the garden because she got beat by the guards.
Well, that's in chapter
Well, that's
5.
You jumped ahead there, buddy. It's all right.
Oh well.
He's eager. All right. Chapter 4. What is the significance of this figurative language, and why is it almost entirely Solomon who speaks? Well, can I go?
Yeah, you can.
All right. I think it's Solomon who speaks mostly because in that kind of culture, that day and age, men did do the majority of everything. I mean, here's men, here's women.
Similar.
So, that was a sexist comment, and I do not approve.
Also, if you look at many of the other books in the Bible, pretty much it was all written by men. There might be some minor books in the Bible in the New Testament rather than the Old Testament, but the Bible, or the book that this is in, because they say that there's multiple books in the Bible like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and so on, and those. This part was in the Older Testament, so that part was pretty much just all written by men.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so that's probably why it was written by him and only him. So.
The point of view that I took was that, like during chapter 4, like he wants to like consummate with her, and so I think that he mostly talks and like uses the figurative language because he like wants to compliment her to the point that like she'll fall for it and like, or I guess I'll not fall for it, but like he'll compliment her so much that she'll like actually do it with him like he wants her to.
Okay.
And so that's what I thought.
Chris, why do you think Solomon spoke so much? Do you think it was because men spoke more in that day and age than the women, or like Maddie said, because he was trying to compliment her?
Yeah, the men had a more important role, I think.
Okay. Chapter 5. Can we all proceed to chapter 5?
Yes, that's
all right. Is the Shulamite dreaming, or is the author telling us that she really went out into the streets and got beaten? Now, me personally, I think this one was a dream. Because I feel like if she had really gone out there and been beaten, she would have been all messed up in the face, and he wouldn't be complimenting her again. But later in the chapter, he proceeds to compliment her. But there's just nothing that comes off her getting beaten.
They don't mention it
yeah.
in the story, but
for the rest of the time.
I see where you're coming from, but I disagree. Because in that day and age, the women could not go out by themselves, and if she's screaming for him, then they're going to beat her up because she's putting herself out there. And they wouldn't know that it's his wife because he has 60 other wives and 80 other concubines, and they won't know like a name and face because there's so many of them. And then I also don't think it's a dream because her friends, she went to them and they responded in action, and when they found him in the gardens, he also responded in action. So I don't think it was a dream.
Yeah, I agree with Lily on that. Yeah, same.
It's a good thing.
Well,
it's also, sorry.
Thank you. Think about this. You know, the old saying, "Oh, I must be dreaming, pinch me," because a sense of pain makes you wake up. I feel like if you were being beaten up in a dream, you would have woken up.
I don't think they mentioned it in the text because she didn't really care if she got beaten up or not. It depended if she got to him.
Well, I
Solomon
think that
would
she
probably be
would
concerned
care, and then
Wife
that
got beat up.
I think that she would care, and then that would be something in there about some sort of executions. Because I mean, she's a king's wife. I mean, yeah, she's one of many, but still, that's. But I mean, again, this could go either way, depending on how you look at it and just how your brain works, I guess.
back to your point about like the pinch me, I'm dreaming. Like I had a dream once I was shot, and like I just went through the whole dream. I didn't wake up, so.
So you just laid there dead for the rest of the night?
Well, I wasn't killed.
Well, I mean, some people again just work differently because no one is exactly like. Of course. So.
Kaylee, do you think she was dreaming, or do you think she really got beaten up?
I think that she was dreaming.
Of course, a
Because-
logical explanation.
But there might have been a chance that it was real because at that time they did have little rights. But somebody probably would have brought it up or said something to her if she actually was beaten. If she was beaten as bad as they say, she would have had at least a mark somewhere.
You think the king would have brought it up, like, hey, you look kind of different, what happened?
I guess it could go either way.
Yeah. But
This story is a lot of opinion based.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
this is
You
just
never
all
know.
opinion.
You never know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one
Statement.
giant dream.
So it's okay if we proceed.
It could be.
It's okay if we proceed to the next question.
Go for it, Tim.
What message did the author send through the Shamilite and Solomon not having the same concern about their situation? Well, I think that the author was saying that, I guess, that women and men had different opinions back then as they probably do now. And since the men back then were viewed higher up, then he wouldn't probably have cared as much as she would. So this could also reflect back to chapter 5, it being a dream or not. So
Yeah, I agree.
It's a good statement.
And I want to add that, like she was like head over heels over him. Like she was telling her friends like how great he was, but like he probably thought like, yeah, she's pretty. Like, yeah, I want to be married to her. But he also had all those other women that it didn't matter to him as much as it had mattered to her.
He just wanted to consummate.
yeah. Hey, Sam, you have anything to add to this?
Not really on this one. This one, I didn't have much on this one as I did the others.
Come on, Sam.
The next one, we have about a minute.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, chapter 7. What might it mean that the Shulamite and Solomon only speak to each other using figurative language? Sam, since you didn't add anything to the last one.
I said it might mean that they're either madly in love or they might simply trying to just impress each other like this one-time thing.
Oh, I got a good one.
I agree with that one, though.
I think it's because, like, if you're fighting, it's hard, like, how do I want to explain this? You have to think deep and clear about what you want to say to each other.
So they can twist your words.
You can't just blurt out what first comes into your mind, because you'd have to process that and bring it out to a figurative statement. I mean, there's no irrational thoughts when you're speaking.
It's a good statement, Nick.
You just don't want to blurt out random things that might just freak the person out, so.
Yeah, you'd actually have to process, like, is this going to make sense if I say this? How would I say this? Well, now that kind of sounds stupid when I think of it like that. I mean.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, you guys didn't even get done with your questions on the second round. Why do you think that is?
We were
talking
Okay, okay, just a minute, hold on, we've got a couple minutes. Why do you think you were able to add more detail and deeper discussion in the second round than the first?
Because we the A team.
We all
Because
we
we
asked
knew not
everyone's opinions instead of just like.
Okay, no. They didn't have all
We had a pretty solid leader.
Well, you didn't have, but,
Nate
just
did
a
good
minute.
job, too.
Do you feel that you benefited from the first
Yes.
round's
Yeah.
performance?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like you said.
and which shows you benefited vicariously from their practice, so that's kind of like your practice. This practice will make you better for our next discussion, which will make you better for the next discussion in my class or someone else's class. Okay, let's listen up. Listen up for what will happen next week with our crazy homecoming week.
Nothing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. We did not have time. Need everybody listen. We did not have time for your Song of Solomon quiz today, so that will be next week, Monday. You will be working on Webfolio reflections. You will also be meeting with me individually for a writing conference, and you will
to give me extra credit for letting me use your charger?
Thank you very